Hi, beautiful souls. Sorry to be late. Craziness around the household. So welcome. My name is Sadhana. For those of you that haven't been here before, welcome to my weekly live chat. And I see there's a few people that were hanging around waiting. So thank you. I really, really appreciate it. And with the time change today, I know a lot of people in the world don't have a shift of time for daylight savings. And in Canada, we do. We're still doing the daylight savings thing. So I am on an hour earlier, I suppose, than I was last week. So this will be my regular time going forth, unless we'll see what happens. Maybe in the summer, I'll be going a little bit later. So how are you all? And I look forward to chatting with you in the chat. Tonight, I'm going to share with you my favorite major cards. There has been a tarot tag that has been kind of rebooted. It was around a few years ago. I think it was called hashtag 22 majors or something like that. And Toadstool Tarot recently did favorite majors or major favorites. I put it in the title, whatever it was. And so that's what I'm going to share with you tonight. So hi, Ange and Kyle. Nice to have you guys here. It is bright and light. It's so strange getting used to the shift in the weather. I teach a yoga class, restorative yoga class, Monday nights at 7 o'clock. And usually I'm busy lighting candles and getting the room ready. And last night it was it was bright. So we were watching the ocean at the beginning of the class, which is lovely. Anyway, so adapt, adjust, accommodate. That is what we all need to do, right? With the different seasons and the different weather. Yeah. Victoria, hello, welcome. Oh, and Amber's saying hello too. Amber's probably going to be here. That's one of the reasons I'm late, is because I couldn't get my daughter to take Amber out for a walk, and she will probably be nudging me the entire live tonight. So hopefully she doesn't knock the camera over. So yeah, so have you seen anybody's video? Sorry, I'm laughing at my dog. She's such a strong little nudger. You're going to have to go lie down, baby. Yes, because I don't want your snotty nose on my cards. No, I don't. Go lie down. Okay. Have you seen anybody's video for the favorite majors? There's been a couple of good ones. I haven't watched many, but it just reminded me also of some decks that I haven't had out for a while. And in my selection tonight, I do not have any of my new decks that I'm sharing with you. Maybe one card that I showed you last week as well too, because I just had to include it. What else is up for me? I have been pulling out all my shamanic decks, and I've been having a lot of fun with that. I want to go back and start doing, I have a medicine wheel spread. I've closed my Etsy page, so you can't go to the photo there. I have a blog about it though on my website if you want to go to it, about my medicine wheel spread. I love doing readings with the wheel, and doing north, south, east, west, and pulling in the energies of the ancestors and different things that come up for each of the directions. And so I pulled out all of my shamanic style cards, including the Vision Quest Tarot, and I just spent a little bit of time edging some of them. So I just edged this deck. I haven't shuffled it yet, so I think it's going to look pretty cool when I shuffle it. This is the deck where it's a really cool deck. I don't know if you guys have this one. I'll get the purple cards. So when you the spread that goes with this deck has 5 caves, they're called. So 5 different energies that kind of relate to the 5 chakras. So the first one is earth, the second one is water, the third one's fire. They do relate to the chakras, but they're called caves. And you pull 2 significator cards. One is the journeyer, who is you, and then one is the it's called the companion. And these are the companion is going to be there for your protection and also as your guide on your journey. And I have done a couple of readings this week for myself, and I chose to, so I put on drumming music And then I had my these 2 cards, and then I had the card that was going to take me into the Cave of Rivers. And so I've been for a couple of journeys, and I've really been enjoying this deck this week. So I wanted to edge it because I never got around to edging it. And it's kind of fun when you have decks that have specific suits to edge them in those particular colors. So yeah. So yeah, Victoria loves that deck. Oh, you trim drawers. Yeah, I was thinking about it. But I edged it. I edged it in the color. So right, so the ones with the green edge got green, and the ones with the blue edge got blue, and so forth. Yeah, and mine was kind of chipped, so that edging covered up the chips. So that's what I've been doing this week, is pulling all of those out. And I want to, I don't know, I'm going to kind of I'm redoing my website right now. So I want to have more of an Etsy look on my shop page on my website. So that's going to be coming up. So I've been doing all that kind of stuff. So anyway, let's get to the cards, because I think this is going to be fun. And I have quite a few, you know, I always have lots of things to say. So we will. So I'll probably go to about 10 minutes past the hour, because I started late tonight. And hopefully we'll have enough time to go through the cards. Cave paintings. Oh, what is that deck? That deck is called the Shaman's Oracle. I don't have the box here. It comes in a red box, a red slide out box. I think that's the one. Hi, Whale Song. Yeah, it's a really cool deck. So yeah, so I will be doing a video on that coming up soon. And yeah, so hopefully you've seen the videos I posted this week. I did another one for my indie decks, and it was really funny. I ordered the new deck by Dawn Brunk. I guess her name is Brunke or Brunk. And anyway, joke's on me. It was the same deck as the Animal Wisdom. So I don't know if you saw that video, but pretty funny. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can go to the last video I posted. I kind of got duped. So favorite Fool card. All right. So of course I can't pick one. This one is from Beautiful Rebellion. And if you aren't aware, she is republishing. This deck is getting reprinted, and it's coming out very soon. And the reason I like this Fool card is I like the connection between the little girl and what seems like a kind of a fairy tale character to me. And just that whole idea of, I don't know, like trusting enough to step into another realm. I really like this one kind of for the same reason. This one's from John Bauer. It feels like total freedom and total trust. And one of the things I like about the idea with the Fool card is that there's this like divine magical connection with the Fool. I really don't think the Fool is blindly leaping off and this one, of course, I had to show this one because we can be youthful and start our adventures anytime, any age, anywhere. And there's a couple decks that have old people, old guys for the Fool. And I love that. I love that very much. Yeah. I'm going to, okay. So yeah, so those are the 3 Fool cards that I picked. Magician was kind of hard. You know, I find this is a Magician card. I know this is a weird choice. So this deck is the Dark Angel Tarot. I'm praying to God my dog doesn't knock my camera. The reason I like this Magician card is that the Magician is practicing. And I really like, and I wanted to show you a whole bunch of different decks tonight, so I tried not to pick everything from Lily White Tarot. And I really like this Magician card too. This is Victorian Fairy. I think it's really well done. And I like that he looks Oriental, Chinese. That really appeals to my sense of magic coming from all realms. And the fact that in the fairy realm, we don't only have white fairies. with white skin. Yeah. So I like magician cards where the magician is actually doing something. And sometimes you get one like what as above, so below. I like those ones too. But yeah. Okay. I'm sorry. What deck was the first Fool that you showed? The first Fool that I showed was this one, right? That's the Beautiful Rebellion Tarot by Robin L. Cole. And she has a new deck that's coming out, which I backed on Kickstarter. And she is going to be reprinting the Rebellion, Beautiful Rebellion as well, too. Yeah. Somebody likes my dog. So, High Priestess. I like a lot of High Priestess cards, and I wanted to choose something a little different for you today. And this is me, basically, except I don't wear clothes in the bathtub. This is from the Urban Tarot. And when I will go back after the video, probably I'll watch it back and I will, oh, I can't put titles on. I will, in the description box below after, I'll name all of the cards that I showed you tonight, and I'll put up the deck name. So why do I like this? I like this that she is just, there's this thing about doing magic and being spiritual anywhere, anytime. You know, that simplicity, that practical magic, the connection with the water. I've talked before about how I love to get to the ocean, and you can't always go in the ocean, at least in Canada, because it's so freezing cold. So you get to the bathtub and I connect so deeply with the water, and I always put in salt and so forth. And so this is kind of what I was talking about with the magician. This is the High Priestess from the Green Witch. So when the High Priestess is also doing her thing, doing her magic, be it more witchy magic, or be it just the simplicity of it all, right? Then I really like this cards. Oh, we have a new person, Buff Aviation. So Buff Aviation, we're talking about tarot cards. That's what we're doing. So Empress, right? There's a lot of pretty, I would say, most Empress cards are what? Pregnant mamas, I think. Oh, and I wanted to show you. So I'm going to show you Shadowscapes. Do you guys have this book? This is the expanded book. And if you don't have this book, it is so amazing. You can see, you know how people always say, oh, I want bigger cards. Well, these are a heck of a lot bigger cards. And the beautiful thing about, so this one is, I was going to say illustrated. Of course, it's illustrated by Stephanie Pouy-Moonlaw, but it's also written by her. So the description is by Stephanie as well, too, as opposed to Barbara Moore. And you can see some of the sketches of the building of the cards. Anyway, I'm going to show this to you up close because this is just absolutely stunning Empress energy. And excuse me, I love that circle of butterflies and that wreath that is created with the butterflies as she extends her arm. It's just so magical, so magical. Love that card. So much easier to look at that than the book. And this one, there's something about this Empress card I love. This is Amber, lie down, baby. This is the somebody help me here. Stephen. I'm sorry, I'm drawing a blank. Spirit Within. Spirit Within. So again, this is a lot like the High Priestess in the bathtub kind of energy, right? It's the just being. It's the beingness of being the Empress. I have a book about Shadowscapes, but it is 5 by 9. Yours looks beautiful. So this one is, oh my goodness, it's bigger than 8 by 10. you know, like it's bigger than a piece of, you know, paper that you'd put in a copy machine. Yeah. Spirit within. It does look like Out of Africa. Do you like that movie? I love that movie so much. I need to watch that movie again. So, Emperor. The Emperor is pretty stunning in this deck too. I just gazed at it as I was flipping through. And when you see it this big, it's pretty powerful, especially the Celtic knot, that silver creation that's behind him. It's kind of crazy. It's beautiful, but that's not what I picked. But it kind of mirrors in this one. This is the Urban Tarot. And look how he has that same kind of energy behind his head. I have the light shining and I can't even see this. And so same kind of energy, Sasrabito. I would have also chosen a deck that, had I had time, a deck that flipped it. So, and I will show you one card from the manga tarot tonight. So in the manga tarot, which is fairly old, ages ago, I did quite a deep analysis of the manga tarot. It's one of those decks that has, there's seasons on every single card. It's not like all of the pentacles are autumn. It's not like that. It's every season, every card is associated with a season. All of the aces are all 4 seasons. It's a really interesting deck. And so I did a bit of an analysis with that deck. And in that deck, the Emperor and the Empress energy is switched, as well as some of the other cards. And so that's pretty cool. Sasrabito is so good at capturing the essence of the meaning. Yeah, for sure. Okay, so Hierophant. I picked 4. I have. So here's another card from John Bauer. I love this one. I imagine that this troll isn't stone and the troll wakes up, and or the troll is stone and the little boy, is it a little boy? The little person there, the little person is so in tune with the energy of the earth that she can just feel its frequency and get the message. And maybe only children see the troll. Maybe if it were an adult, the adult wouldn't even see the troll and get the wisdom from that. I don't know, there's something about that. Oh, here's another. I shouldn't show you any more from the same deck. That's the Shadowscapes Hierophant. I'll show you it in the book in a second. This one I've always liked, you know, from my shamanic kind of stuff. And there's a few, so it's funny that Lorna Letta calls this the Hierophant and not the Shaman. There's a few decks that actually call this card the Shaman. Yeah. And of course I had to show the Dalai Lama, because the Dalai Lama is the quintessential Hierophant. Yeah. And, you know, I have to do like a shout out. There's quite, Poppy Palin's deck does another really good job with the Hierophant to make it really all inclusive kind of energy. Oh my goodness. I could just, maybe I'll take this book to bed tonight. It's just so beautiful. So I wanted to show you this magical Hierophant tree in this big picture. And this is like, what card was I showing you? Oh, like the troll, right? Like the stone troll. It's the same kind of thing. It's that wisdom in the earth, right? The wisdom. Everything we need to know is in the raindrop. Everything we need to know is in the leaf, right? We just need to know how to relate the micro to the macro. It's kind of crazy. So love that stuff. Lover's card. I only picked one. I picked this one. I think this is just a great Great card. Kyle says the Dalai Lama, once I'd seen the card, will always be the Hierophant to me. Yeah. So this is from the Numinous. And for me, the Lover's card, when it's in a reading for somebody else, the Lover's card depends on the question that comes up, of course, right? But finding that love and the balance within. I mean, there's so many cards in the tarot that are about balance, but loving your whole self is really important. And I just love the way that Noel Arthur Hempel illustrated this card. It's really lovely. Yeah. So Chariot is not one of my favorite cards. Remember we did a live maybe 6 weeks ago, I don't know, a couple months ago, about the Chariot, and we looked at lots of Chariot cards and the energy of the Chariot. And sometimes I find that the Chariot is like, it looks like if you don't find your inner strength, you know, you're going to get pulled into two pieces. And for me, it's really important that the charioteer is not holding the reins, that there is this energetic connection between the horses and the charioteer. If there is a charioteer, those are things that I kind of look for. In this card, I like this card for the strength of the card. Unfortunately, she's holding the reins, but it feels really powerful to me. And this one is quite the opposite. This is from the Stolen Child. And this is a reminder that, to me, that the chariot doesn't have to be going at lightning speed. You know, sometimes we need to take and be present every step along the way on the path. And I get that feeling with most chariot cards that it's going lightning speed. However, in an RWS, it's not moving at all. It's just stationary. It hasn't moved yet. So these are all really interesting things to look at when you look at a chariot card. Okay, strength. I went Spirit Song. Oh, can you see that? There, maybe there. I wish this deck was more saturated. I really do. I should have. I don't do what's it called, like OBS. I've never done a live with that kind of stuff, and I really should learn how to do that so I can insert photos and all of that high-tech stuff for you. I have only once been to an elephant sanctuary in India, and it was actually a really nice experience. And the Indian men were taking really good care of the elephants, and it was just a pleasure to be in their presence and to be so close to them. There's a real power. Also, you might be interested to know that in India, the parades with elephants are definitely becoming a thing of the past. And to actually see an elephant in a procession, you're not going to see that too much anymore. This is from the Stolen Child. So here we have the buffalo or the bison with the child. It's a pretty sweet painting. Yeah, but there's a real magical and reverence of the elephants in India, and in a lot of temples you can go to, not a lot, certain places there is some kind of a what would you call them? I was going to say like a snake charmer, an elephant charmer, an animal charmer. And they, the elephants come in and they actually do blessings in the temples with the elephant. I have an amazing picture of my daughter. First time I went to India, and the elephant putting his trunk on her head. It was really special. Hermit. I do like the Hermit card. This one is from Everyday Witch. And there's something about this I really like. And this reminds me of Shamanic when I did my wheel. And we had so many solo fires that were required to complete our training, and different tasks were assigned to different solo fires. And that's what this reminds me of. It reminds me of all that can be learned, in a solo fire. And of course I have to show you this one. This card is just, it really gets to me. It feels like, this is the lily white. It feels, I see a womb. I see the tree. I see the womb of the tree. I see the woman returning to the womb, or being safe in the womb of the Divine Mother. It's really special. The way home hermit is a bear hibernating with a firefly. Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, and there's so many cards I could have chosen. There's so many. Yeah, these are just a few. I initially, months ago in my journal here, I have done all 78 cards, and I was going to do a hashtag 78 card challenge, but it was just way too long. It was too much. But the challenge was only one card, 78 decks. So 78 different cards, but I decided not to do it. So wheel. Okay. So Druidcraft, you kind of get the message here. I like the practice. I like cards that show the practice and people being in their practice. Because if you are in your practice, whatever that means for you, it means that you are being conscious about your connection and your spirituality. And I got to show you this one because I think this card rocks. We have the web. We have the moon cycles. We have the sun. We have the seasons. So I think it's important. And of course, this one, I love this one. And I'm going to show you this one again because I'm going to show you the 20 card, the 10 and the 20 from this deck, because I think they did a really good job in connecting the 10 and the 20. There's not a lot of justice cards that I like. I chose this one, which is kind of unusual. And the reason that I like this card is that it doesn't look like a person standing in judgment. A person deciding what is right and what is wrong. And again, we're connected to the wisdom of the earth, connected to the wisdom of the ancestors, connected to the wisdom of whoever created that standing stone circle. I think that's pretty cool. The Justice card, what does it represent? Did I do a video on that card? I can't remember. It's a really interesting card to look at. And if I haven't done one, we should do one. I can't remember. So hanged man, hanged person. So this is a card I chose from the manga tarot. This is the back. This is a low Scarabeo deck. And I didn't trim it because, why? Oh, because it's so different, this deck, that's why. So there's a woman here, and she's doing a handstand in a waterfall. It's pretty transformational. Pretty transformational. I love it. Justice is, I'm going to put my glasses on. I can't read Kyle's comment. Justice is touch because it depends on your point of view. Yeah, justice. I don't know if there's a typo there. Justice is touch because it depends on your point of view. Oh, tough. Justice is tough because it depends on your point of view. Yes, and sometimes it's called karma, where you can look at it from a karmic point of view. And sometimes justice delivers tough love, and that's because we get what is, what karmically is coming around is exactly what we need, and it's not always what we want. So sometimes it is tough love. So I picked this one, and now I don't know if you're gonna be able to see. Oh, you can. Nice. So this is Lily Black. And there's something about this one in the black. I like the blue jeans and the snake. It's really cool. And I like that he's hanging in the dark, because the best revelations come when we're in the dark. Any of you guys hang upside down, or like put your legs up the wall at night before you go to bed, or do inversions in yoga practice? It's pretty transformational. Spacious tarot. Okay, so let me tell you about spacious tarot. I will have spacious tarot. Carrie had my address wrong, Carrie Mallon. And so I didn't get it. And it's sitting at my P.O. box in Blaine, Washington. So I don't have it. It's sitting there. I need to make a trip to the US of A. Yeah, so I live not so far away from Vancouver, British Columbia. And I have a pickup. It's not really a post office box, but I have an address in the US. And so occasionally, maybe 4 times a year, I go there and I pick up things there. So sometimes I go and it's usually a haul, because there's usually 4 or 5 decks and it's a party. Okay, so where were we? 13. So the Spacious Tarot, the Justice card is like a ripple extending out from a pebble dropped in water, or possibly a whirlpool. Yeah, you know that, to understand that it's like every action has a reaction. When even if we, so suppose we yell at our kids or our husband, and if you imagine the reverberation of that negative energy goes beyond your window, goes beyond your house, bumps up against the neighbor's house, bumps up against the neighbor's kids, and all of a sudden the parent in the next house doesn't understand all of a sudden why their kid said something out of character or out of turn. You know, I think about these ripples, these waves, every time a voice is raised or a regrettable action is taken. So that's a nice, I can't wait to get it. I'm looking forward to get it. Yes. Okay, so for death, I chose this one. I love this card. And I am planning at some point to do my death doula course. I have done my training with the Hospice Association here, and I do volunteer for hospice. I love to do Reiki for palliative care, and I love talking to people about death and the death experience. And I think that Poppy Palin did such a good job with this card. It's just so beautiful. It really is. I was thinking too of, there's a death card, and it has lots of Day of the Dead symbology on it. Oh my God, what deck is it? And the skeleton has the hat with the pom-poms, and then in the background there's a bunch of, anyway. I like death cards that have something different in them. So Temperance. Of course, I have to show you the Marielle. This is one of my favorite cards in the Marielle. Love this card. And we've talked about Temperance a lot on this chat, right? I know we did one on Temperance. And this one, I love this one. This is the Mediatrix from Margaret Peterson. And I'm going to read you the poem. I thought I'd read you the poem about this one. Oh, so good. So good. I think both of these cards just get it right. They both understand what's going on. So I'm going to read you the poem from the Mediatrix. And I'll hold up the card. I need to find some light. There you go. Okay. You are fire and water, the cosmic mixer, mediating between personal and super personal realms, rainbow body, changing the 7 poisons into the 7 wisdoms. Cleansed, you stand between death and the devil, representing the knowledge of measuring and timing. You are vessel and content, the ever-changing flow of life force. Love this deck. Love her poetry. Okay, so that's 14. So I've told you multiple times that I'm going to do a video on the devil card. And these are all the devil cards that I have chosen to include in my video. And some of them I find appalling. I can't stand them. I find them so gross. Oh my God. And so I'm going to speak to all of them. This is the deck we just looked at. That's the Margaret Peterson. This is the one from Vision Quest. I think this is a pretty awesome card for the devil. To remind ourselves that it's self-inflicted. We chose it, right? We chose it. We did this to ourselves. And it's funny, I just watched Rocket Man. I haven't seen Rocket Man before, and I've always loved Elton John ever since I was a kid. Ever since his first album came out, I just connected deeply to his music, loved his music, love it as an adult, know every word to most of his songs. Even Benny and the Jets, I know every single word. And when I watched that movie, and I know his story, I know the tragedy of his story, it just really hit me hard. It really did. And at the bottom of all of that, drug addiction and all, I mean, it's a universal story, right? It's everybody wants to be loved. And we do these things because we don't feel the love. We don't recognize the love. Anyway, so I'm not going to show you all these cards now because I'm going to do a separate video on this. Yeah, some of them are really hard to look at, I find. And then you have ones like this one. This one is from Way of the Panda. So this one is a reminder that the panda is reacting. The panda is triggered by the trap. The panda is not the devil. And this is a bit like the Way Home Tarot has a similar energy, right? So the Way Home Tarot has the horses that are the circus horses. And the devil, of course, is the way that humans treat animals. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to put that, I'm not going to show you this one, so I'm going to put that one away. So Tower is next. This is a card it's come up a lot in a few readings over the last few weeks with people. It's really been showing itself, really been revealing itself. And I find that cards often come in cycles. It's really interesting. And I showed you this one last week from the Polarcos Tarot. I find this incredibly powerful card. So whether this energy, and it's one of the things about this card that is different is that the energy is coming down through her throat. It's not coming down through the crown chakra, right? So it's not Kundalini energy. There's her voice. There's something about her voice. I just got a flash of the Little Mermaid, you know, when the Little Mermaid gets her voice back. I don't know, it's just such an amazing card, and it almost looks like she's underwater. And I want to talk about this card from the Lily White. Yeah, that's a card you can really feel. So in this card, the elk has lost its antlers, and it just happens to be a forest fire, and the forest fire has nothing to do with the losing of the antlers. It's just that there's a vulnerability of the animals in the forest fire, and that happened at the same time, of course, when the animal shed its antlers. And there's this tremendous vulnerability in peeling these layers away. And I think the being brave in the vulnerability is such an important aspect of the Tower card. And I really like reflecting on this card. I think it's tremendous food for thought. Yeah. So let me know if you have, some favorite cards that I've missed. I know some of you have mentioned a few of them. Oh, okay. So I showed you the Fortune Fairy. Oh no, this isn't the one. Sorry. I'm skipping ahead of myself. Skipping ahead. So we're at the Star. One of the things I check in a deck is I always take out Temperance and the Star to see if there's a relationship. And in some decks there are, and some decks there aren't. And it's not a deal breaker, but it's interesting if there is. And the Star is it's an important card. I do like the Star in the Slow Tarot. I've shown you that deck recently. And this is a deck that does that. So we have Temperance and the Star. This is a deck I hardly ever use. This is Kelly Bear's favorite deck, right? This is, I can't even think what it's called. It's called Forest of Enchantment, right? Forest of Enchantment. And there's something about the relationship between those two cards that I find really interesting. But I really love this one. I think this is one of my favorite Star cards. There is such innocence and beauty. And to me, this card looks like it's at night. It's a moth. And the little fairy boy is just so happy in his environment. It's so beautiful. Love it. Yes, Tarot of the Magical Forest. Moon cards are another really challenging one. Moon, right? Because the moon is about allowing all of that stuff that we don't want to look at to come to the surface, right? It's like another layer of the Devil card, but looking at it in a different way. Even though there's no forest. Yeah, there's no forest. Love, love, the Llewellyn moon card. Even though the background story for this card really has nothing to do with the moon. It's a stunning card. And the owl is out hunting at night in the full moonlight. It's pretty beautiful. And here's one of practical magic, right? Doing moon ritual, moon ceremony. Everyday enchantment moon card. I have to think what it is. I can't remember what's on the moon card in that deck. So this is the Pagan Tarot. This is the borderless version, the more recent one that came out. And the reason I bought this deck was because I wanted the guidebook so I could understand some of the cards that are dealing with the darker practices of the witchcraft in that deck. And the guidebook is pretty good. It goes into that. So I have two copies of that deck. One, the older one with the borders, and the newer one with the bigger guidebook. So we're on to the Sun. Explain that one to me, please. Which one? Explain what one, Kyle? The Llewellyn or the pagan? I'm just going to wait. So in the Llewellyn Tarot, moon in the background, city alley at night. She looks powerful, but also like she is in another place as well. I'll have to get that card. I'll have to get it. I don't have the deck right here, but I'll have to pull it out. So yeah, so we're on to the Sun. So are you a fan of the naked baby on the horse? How do you like to see your Sun cards? I'm just really curious. Like a sun, what does the sun represent? Like joyfulness, you know, lots of fire energy. This is a beautiful card. This is the, it's a trimmed version of the, I was going to call it the Love Tarot, but that's not what it's called. The Art of Love. This is a Tony Carmine Salerno painting. Cesar Vito Sun card is fun. So I think it's called The Art of Love. That's what it's called. So it's one of the decks that's put a bunch of Tony Carmine Salerno's paintings together and created a deck. And I have another one. I wanted to show something tonight from the Crow Tarot. And this is the card I picked from the Crow Tarot. It's got really nice energy. Yeah. One of the decks that does really like any of the elemental energies. So the sun, the moon, those cards are really well done in the Vision Quest. I showed you one card from that already. Okay, so this is what I was talking about. So this is the Fortune Fairy, and then I think there's a really nice connection in Hidden Realm between these two cards, 10 and 20. And it's a different fairy, but here we have, she's holding the acorn, which is a metaphor you often see in the World card. And here it's called Life Renewed in the Judgment card. And so I think that's done really well. I like the one in the Sasrai Bito where, right, so the woman is looks like she's in a cocoon. She's got a blanket around her. And so that layer is ready to come off. There's quite a few decks that do that pretty well. I find this is a Herb Crafter. So I thought I would speak to this card. So Tulsi, Holy Basil, is a sacred plant. And this is such a gorgeous card. Look at the lace cloth in the background. And then we have the Tulsi Mala. And so this card reminds me of some of the things I've already said about the ritual and the practice. And if you stick with your practice, right? If you do your mantra, if you do your meditation, you do your prayers, then, you know, everything will evolve as it is meant to. But it's such a sacred card, and it's called Awakening. I've really been enjoying working with this deck bit by bit. So I didn't want to repeat decks. And I was trying to find some different world cards that I really like. She also seems homeless. People laughing at her for being different. Sorry, still trying to describe the moon card from Everyday Enchantment. Well, maybe I should go get it. To me, that feels like the energy of the star card in the Urban Tarot. That's another odd one. Do you know what I'm talking about? The star card in the Urban Tarot, it feels like that energy that Lori just described of the of that card. Okay, so World. Another deck I hardly ever pull out. This is Crystal Visions. What I like about this card is all of the symbology for the transformation, for the end. I mean, this could just as well be the 20th card because we have the lotus in full bloom. We have all that beautiful light around the world. The butterflies are emerging. It's really magical. It's really magical. I pull out this deck when I need my dragon fix because I love all the dragons and the suit of wands in that deck. Here's a card from Poppy Palin's deck. Love this World card. There's a real completion, right? And there's a tremendous joy in the connection of all of the women creating this quilt. And we have flora, fauna. We have the finned, the feathered, the four-legged. They're all included in this card. It's really beautiful. Yeah, that's an amazing card. And on a similar, so I thought it was really interesting that Robin included this card, or she found this painting or included this painting. This is, again, is the beautiful Rebellion Tarot. It has that same kind of energy of just the complete acceptance of all of that. So what I don't get, so the World card, I think the challenging side of the World card is that we don't want an ending. Endings are tricky. Endings are hard. So the World card to me is about celebration of everything that you have done, all that you have gone through to get to this point. But it is an ending. It is an ending. And sometimes that can be really hard. And so the cards around the World card can reflect that often. And so it doesn't appear to be a joyful card all the time. Yeah, so those are my 22 major favorites. Of course, there's lots of other ones, but those are the ones I wanted to share with you tonight. I can relate to the World cards so well. I used to run an international women's social group. Yeah, that is amazing to do that. I really feel the energy of both of these cards. And there's a sense in this, I mean, I could go get one of the things, so if you are going to order this deck, one of the things that you should know is that in the guidebook, Robin includes a lot of these paintings, like this one would come from a larger landscape painting. And so you get the whole painting in the guidebook, not just the piece of the painting that was chosen for the tarot card. Yeah. So there we are. There we have it. Sadhana's 22 major favorites. Okay. So next week, I thought I would go back and finish. I actually have a request to do a live about court cards, which I will do for sure. And I wanted to, because I didn't ever get to the suit of pentacles. And I wanted to talk about the suit of pentacles, and I was contemplating that sitting in my backyard last night. But I thought, because not everybody, but a lot of people were doing this tag right now, I wanted to do this tag and thought I would do it at the live. So I want to come back and spend some time with pentacles. And I would love to have some feedback from you about that. If there's particular decks where you find the Suit of Pentacles are a little more challenging to work with, I'd like to know that. I'd also wonder about, with the Suit of Pentacles, do you look to the physical body? Do you include that for like health readings? Is that part of something that you pick up on? Or is it predominantly financial? I know there's an ancestral link that some people bring in. So they look at pentacles to do with family, especially when we're looking at the 10 of Pentacles. And so we're looking at roots as well. So what are the associations that you have with that suit? If there's something in particular that you would like me to discuss in relation to that suit. Okay, so I'd love some feedback on that so I can prepare for that one. And then as far as the court card request goes, I have done one video on each of the courts, page, knight, queen, king. And I also did a video on, it's called Easy to Read Court Cards. So that was some of my favorite, not favorite decks, but decks that I find are really easy to work with if you're struggling with court cards. So the people who requested court cards, I would really like to know, what is it that is so challenging? And if there's anything you want to share right now, I would love to hear from you, because it is in a nutshell. And I will bring to the table when I do that video also my book called The Yoga of Relationships, which I've shared before. When I look at the court cards, it's like a little insight into mini querent, or if it's for myself, it's a mini me, and it's that piece of myself that is wanting some attention. And of course, that might be reflected in somebody who is in my life, at work or at home, because I need to have that shown a little more, closely. But yeah, so I want to know. I want to know what you want to know so I can prepare for that video. I'm going to go back to just read some of the comments. Oh, you're chatting about Kyle's work with the International Women's Social Group. She was surprised how much the women loved French toast. It was new to them. Oh, that is so funny. French toast. And I wonder if French toast is a North American thing or it's actually from France. I have no idea. I love French toast too. It's about the only thing I cook well. That's funny. I admit I have sometimes removed court cards from a deck. Why? Why have you removed court cards from a deck? Have you replaced them with other ones, or just because you don't like them? Okay, actually I start with the physical body and then work out to family relationships and then work or money. That's interesting. Reading seems so much easier without them. Okay. Yeah, well, you know why? You know why it's easier? Because we don't want to look at all those people. It's hard. It's hard to bring them in. It's called lost bread in France. Pain perdu, like that meaning, perdu. Why is it called lost bread? That's so funny. Or is it a different meaning? I would love to know, Ange. Tell me if it means something else. Lost bread or old bread that is dry. Okay. Lost bread. Okay. I don't get the meaning of the lost, but I get the old bread. All right. That's funny. Alrighty. So that's all I have for you tonight. Unless you have any questions, I can hang around here for a moment. And I will be I'll do the prep for those too. And I will. I'll put in my community. I'll let you pick which one you want next week. But I'm working. I'm working on both of those. Okay. Do you have any questions? If not, I will sign off. I'll sign off. And so please make sure, if you haven't subscribed, to subscribe and to, give the video a like and all of that, because it really does, it does help, and kind of just shows me that you're here and in support of my channel. And also I want to, thank you. I can never say thank you enough times. You guys write the sweetest comments on stuff, and you pick up things in videos that I didn't know were important. And so your comments really help me to create future videos. I mentioned some tarot books, for example, in the last video, and then I got this really great feedback from, I don't even know how to say her name, maybe Idge is her short name, and I'm not going to ruin her name. And so, yeah, so I will do a video on my tarot books, because I've got quite a collection, and there's some real favorites out there. And the other thing too is what came up for me when I did the last indie deck video, and I was really starting to think about, I'm at this point where I feel like I don't need any more decks in my collection. I mean, it's got to be a pretty sweet deck for me to spend the money on it, because I have so many. And one of the things I mentioned was that the Stunning Tarot and the Jonasa Joust, which I showed you last week, were a fairly reasonable price. They were 40 something euros for 2 decks. And that I compared that to the Lily Black Tarot that I received later than the Lily White, which was, I believe, 50 something euros for 1 deck. But you really can't compare those 2 decks, because the Lily Black Tarot has the gold on the back. It's beautifully cut. It's beautiful paper. It comes in a hard box. Those 2 other decks from Jonasa Joust come in tuck boxes. They're very poorly cut. The edges were rough on both of them. And if you saw the video, I edged my Jonasa Joust in purple. It's a deck that I'm definitely going to work with. I don't care that it has rough edges. But when we're talking about indie decks, I'd love to have a conversation about this too. So, what is the most important thing for you when you're spending money, especially if you are at a place where you're going to get dinged for customs, and the postage is so expensive? That is important, that the deck probably is of a high quality and doesn't have rough cut edges, or all the cards are the same size. I'm guessing that's important, but it might not be. If you can get 2 tarot decks, 2 independent tarot decks for 40 something euros, then maybe that's okay with you. So I think we should chat about that as well too. Yeah. So, okay. Thank you. Everybody's saying good night. Here's one you need, the Pride Tarot, coming out from US Games. It's going to be awesome. Oh, the Pride Tarot. I know I am towards the end of the live, but wanted to say hello. Hello. Hello, Paula. What were you mucking about with? Oh my goodness. All right. So I guess we have to look at the Pride Tarot. And I'm assuming it is a gender diverse deck from the title. So I definitely will have a look at it. It's not on my radar. There's one queer deck that is on my radar. Somebody sent me a link for that is coming out. It was so Tarot Nerds Facebook group. The founder of Tarot Nerds is Shauna, who is from the same town that I am. This tiny little town in British Columbia, Canada. Facebook group has 40,000 something people, and the founder of that group is from here, this little place in The coast of BC. I think that's pretty cool. So anyway, it was her that sent me the link for this queer deck that's coming out. So, but I'm pretty sure it's not the Pride Tarot. So there's more than one queer deck that's about to come out on the marketplace. And I don't know if the Pride deck is, but I'm just guessing by the name that it is. Okay. Well, Cat Black did a card for it. Oh, cool. It's a collaborative deck. Lots of names you'll recognize. Ooh. Oh, and speaking of decks, this is the last thing we're going to talk about tonight. I would love to talk about Anna Turian's new decks that are coming out. So there's one that's black and white, Tarot of the Abyss. And then there is Tarot of Echoes, which is the sister deck to Oracle of Echoes. And I'm especially excited about Tarot of Echoes because I love my Oracle of Echoes. I have 2 copies of it. One of them is completely tattered, and I just can't wait for that one to come out. And can I ask, because I can, all right, how many of you ordered that deck that shall remain nameless about 2 years ago and still haven't received it? Did any of you back out? Bone, I can't even say the name. You know what I'm talking about. What's going on with that? How do you feel about that? How do you really feel about that? I feel like everybody's being so polite and not saying anything about it. I'm like really, really ticked. And I feel like I'm all these crazy thoughts were going through my head. Like, where's our money gone? Because for sure, Avalon has received all of the money and has the money. Where are the decks? Is the guidebook finished? You know, what's actually happening? And I am a member of the Facebook group for the deck. And once in a while, Avalon posts a video. But if any of you have any inside information, that would be most appreciated. All right. Bone and Stones. I've only heard about it. The creator has put some videos lately. Yeah, I know she's going through a hard time, but she's a businesswoman, right? And we've all been through hard times. I know. Right? So we're going through hard times. She's going through divorce, and she's in the middle of nowhere. She lives in a very rural place in Tasmania, and she has a bunch of kids, and it's not a pretty situation. I'm aware of that. But the whole escapade with the Bones and Stones started before the separation. So it's a real mystery what's happened with all of that. Yeah. So if any of you want to comment about that later, we can talk we can talk privately in a private message. Okay. So I want to wish you well. Have a great rest of your week, and I look forward to seeing you next Thursday. Okay. Stay well, my friends. Namaste.